while lead, but Carr is strong. He catches back up to him after having to fend off the 23. He's got a great run. He's going to look underneath. The 71 does not defend. They're going to go wheel to wheel into 3 and 4. Who is going to be able to get to the line first here? Down to the inside. He's going to get pinched. They're going to come together. They're going to come together. Is Tim Downey Jr. going to get this? He runs into him. Who is going to get to the finish first? It's Massey.
That is Deterk trying to go defensive. Wanmi says, all right, that's fine. I'm going to go to the outside. You see him taking the widest line into that corner possible, just keeping momentum up around the outside, not taking no for an answer, and by sheer force of will alone, that is Wanmi Costa up into the final podium position.
Off of turn 4, Valenteus looking for the launch. He gets it right up to the wall. He's got a good lot of speed. Is this enough speed, though? As they come to the line and getting ready to cross, he goes around the outside, but it's not enough. And it is going to be Togo Hisada taking the win. Vincent has got the bit between his teeth right now. He said enough of this back and forth and allowing him through. I want the spot back, and he's going to get to the inside. Down into Sayat. Can he complete the pass? Keeping up the momentum. Caven Norris is going to remain wheel-to-wheel down into Vert, but it's not really a too wide turn. They're going to make it one this time, and Norris gets it back around the outside. So this is the 48 car here off of turn 4. Watch this. Really has to catch it. Just trying. I bet he didn't lift that whole way. I think his foot was on the throttle the whole time.
Probably just a little bit too far back, trying to make that run up on Evan. Evan goes to cover the grass.
Espes blocked to the grass, side by side, 2 by 2 for the race win. Now nearly 3 wide. Hyde's taking a peek.
We've got a double here. They're going 2 wide and 2 wide. Oh, following it. Oh no, we got contact. Cam Evan goes around. Oh, that's got to be rough. As
it's
we
not
have
over
the
yet.
local favor going in, and Espes going for the lead, but Williams trying to get in there too. Where are we going to set up here? Coming into the final corner.
Williams trying to get the run on the left side, on the right side. Espes on the left side. A drag race. Williams takes the victory at Mount Panorama Circuit. Brandon Hawk in 3rd, Espes in 2nd.
Hey guys, welcome to ASR. I'm Nick, this is Marc-Andre.
Hey everybody, so we're just here to announce that in this current season of PRL, we'll be giving away 2 ASR 3s to 2 lucky winners. So stay competitive, keep racing fair, and may the best man win.
Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced SimRacing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client. And like we did today, we install a D-box system. We install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much going to be a turnkey. So he's going to press start on his computer, and right after we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really going to reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
The Season 4 Championship, the 2021 playoffs, both will be decided tonight. With 6 drivers eligible in the former and 4 in the hunt for the latter, there will be many giving it their all to take the crown. And in the end, it all settles here in Chicagoland. Let's see if PRL says goodbye to the Gen 6 Cup car with a bang as we get ready to watch Round 10 of the PRL NASCAR Cup Series. And you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is DJ Clark. Behind the scenes is our director, Zach Johnson, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Chicagoland is an unlikely spot for a season finale, but it should put on a good show based on our history here. Let's head to our track guide to learn more.
Welcome to Chicagoland Speedway in Joliet, Illinois. Born out of the track boom of the 90s and early 2000s. Beginning racing in July 2001, not much has changed around Chicagoland, with the exception of lights being added in 2008. She still has the original surface around this 1.5-mile oval, making the track surface harsh from those Midwest winters. That means you really have to manage the tire wear over the course of a race. Chicagoland stands out from the other tracks created around its time period. Yes, it is 1.5 miles and D-shaped, but the shape of the track means it's never truly straight. When you come off the 18-degree bank turns 1 and 2 and onto the backstretch, the first thing you're going to notice is that it's curved. And when you roll into turn 3 and come off turn 4, it feels like you almost immediately dive into the tri-oval. It's an interesting drive for sure. And that interesting drive has produced some incredible races over the years, especially in IndyCar. The old Dallara IndyCar 0305 that you can find on iRacing was a particularly racy machine here, with 3 of the top 5 closest IndyCar finishes, including the closest, coming right here at Chicagoland. NASCAR has been here from the start though, with all 3 National Series making at least 1 trip a year here, and the Grand National cars making 2. ARCA has also been here from the beginning. A series that you may not associate with Chicagoland, USAC Silver Crown. Yes, the ones you can find here on iRacing made stops here in the mid-2000s. So with that, let's get ready to turn loose in the Windy City.
Well, DJ, for a scenario like this, what can we expect with these Cup cars trying to decide a championship, 2 championships here in one night?
Well, Joe, it's going to be a whole lot of action out on track. Chicagoland Speedway is pretty much one of the intermediate ovals that was built around 2000 or thereabouts. But unlike a lot of the other ones, it has some pretty unique characteristics. 18-degree banking around here means that you can run 2 or even 3 wide if you are lucky. But that really only exists in the early stages of the race. Watch for marbles to start gathering on that high line near the end stages. So drivers are going to have to be careful of that. But unlike some of the other tracks like Texas that came around at this time with their tri-oval configuration or quad ovals, this one, as you can see, is almost more of a mile-and-a-half D-oval. As a result, it can get very tricky coming out of turn 4. Drivers, a lot of times tonight, have been having to wheel that car coming out of there, although the curved backstretch does allow for a little bit more wiggle room coming out of turn 2. But one way or another, it's going to be a close race, it's going to be a tight race, and it is going to be an exciting season finale.
I'm looking forward to seeing how this all shakes out. Before we get to, though, we need to mention that our broadcast is brought to you by ASR. Owned and operated by passionate sim racers, Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com.
It's also sponsored by RaceLab. RaceLab helps you to improve your driving skills. With modern overlays, race statistics, and native VR integration, you can get the best out of iRacing. Start using it now for free at racelab.app.
Today's broadcast is also proudly sponsored by ButtKicker. ButtKicker products add an incredible immersion and realism to any game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Check them out at thebuttkicker.com.
Today's event is also brought to you by SimMSA. Simulation Motorsports Affinity provides many consulting services, from completely customizing simulators to managing teams, individual drivers, and complete events. They're working hard to bring everyone together at one place to support and promote sim racing internationally. Find out how you can bridge the gap between virtual and real motorsports at SIMMSA.net.
And finally, the PRL NASCAR Cup Series is brought to you by NinjaTrader. Ready to compete against the financial markets? Supporting over 60,000 users across the globe, NinjaTrader provides award-winning trading software and brokerage services. NinjaTrader is always free to use for advanced charting, backtesting, and trade simulation. Visit ninjatrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator and start tracking your performance. Let's get you up to speed on the championship situation, though. And starting off with the Drivers' Championship for Season 4 here in 2021. It is Rondeletto leading by 11 points over James O'Brien. Now, O'Brien and Holly are really the main ones that we feel have a realistic shot at the championship, at least overtaking Rondeletto, that is. Now, Acosta, Dinkle, and then Long, who you don't see on this one, are a little bit farther back. Acosta is only 26 points back, so it is possible. And then the 33 and the 37 for Dinkle and Long are basically more of a mathematical possibility, but it'll take a lot of crazy circumstances for them to manage to work their way through. What about the Teams Championship, DJ?
Well, it's a little bit more spread out in the Teams Championship, but hope does spring eternal for Whataback Racing Black. They are not mathematically eliminated, but barring some pretty crazy circumstances, this should be another Teams Championship for private label Team Hype. But a close battle there with SGE Esports. Apex closing in on Whataback Black. James Bird racing off in an island unto themselves, but a close battle again for 5th. SGE Esports Slipstream there, only 1 point ahead of Whataback Racing Orange. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as well to see if some of those close battles end up materializing over the course of this race.
The playoffs, thankfully, are going to be a lot simpler since this has been an elimination bracket sort of thing. Well, as you see on our graphic, it is down to O'Brien, Hawley, Long, and Dinkle. Whoever finished the highest is the 2021 Cup Series champion. This has been scored over the course of 3 seasons. The playoffs have been taking place all season long for Season 4 here, and this is to crown a year-long champion. And a lot of drivers have been vying for this. As for what they have to deal with to get there, though, DJ, why don't you take us through the race details?
Well, the race details are pretty much what we've seen all season long here. It is the final race of this season for 145 laps out in Chicagoland, 5 total tire sets, including the one these drivers are going to start out on. An open setup, that's where that team's part is going to come into play, everybody working together to make the best drive that they can. No spare car means if you bin it, you are out, and that could have some massive championship implications. And with a 24 incident limit, that will see you disqualified. Although, as we've seen on these intermediate speedways, Joe, if you hit 24 incidents, your car's probably limping pretty hard by that point.
Yeah, especially with how high the banking is around here. I can't imagine it's going to offer all that many opportunities to beat and bang too hard. Now, we are into the qualifying session. Each driver gets 2 laps to try and set their fastest lap. This is where it gets interesting. Qualifying on pole gets you 2 bonus points. And since only one driver can take that, that does affect the championship here. Because if Ron DeLetto does not get pole, then all he has to do is finish 7th or higher to clinch. If he does get pole, it becomes suddenly 5th or higher that he needs to finish to be able to deny anybody else the championship. So we'll be watching this closely. Everything else beyond that will depend on the race taking place and mostly finishing out with really the most laps led being the only one able to be decided completely as far as bonus points before the race itself is over. But Chris Hudson has the provisional pole right now, waiting for Ron DeLetto to set a time. And right now it looks like Matthew Long then goes ahead of him. So that's a good one for Matthew Long. Ron DeLetto only good enough for 7th on his first lap.
That is true, but I expect some more momentum to get picked up around here by Octavio Rondeletto when he comes around for this second lap. You see him ducking down there underneath the banking. Rondeletto up into second there. That's crucial, though. That is his second lap. He will do no better, so that means in terms of championship, he's got to do 7th or better. That is the 28. Matthew Long getting a little friendly with that safer barrier.
But Long was able to get up to 3rd. And so he will be starting near him. See, Besaw Jr. just put one down. Bradley Holly is starting a flying lap now as well. Where is James O'Brien? O'Brien's first lap only good enough for 14th. Make that 15th now. 16th even, 17th. O'Brien's first lap was abysmal.
It was indeed. He's got one more to try to tie this thing together, but about 6/10 of a second off. Looks like that car is really, really wheeling. Watching his steering inputs, he really had a lot of inputs coming through 3 and 4. There's the second lap for James. All right, he's going to feel better about that all the way up into 3rd.
Way better. Much better sign for him. But what about Bradley Holly? Where is he going to put himself? I know he put his first lap in. That was a 30.058. He's also kind of tumbling down. So it looks like the second lap tends to be the money lap here today. And the 184 down into the line as he's going to give us a view on board as usual. 29.916. Still only 8th place. But we've seen him come up from way farther back than that before.
Yeah, we have indeed. That's becoming a little bit of Bradley's MO in this Sunday Night Cup Series, just a charge from behind there. So he'll have some work to do, but this is a track where passing is very, very easy to do. So I don't anticipate too many problems there for him.
See Simmons coming across the line on his second lap, not able to go quicker. Pat Harvey just starting his first flyer. And I think Harvey is going to be our last one able to set a time here in this last minute of qualifying. In fact, the question is he going to get both of them in, though? Because I think he crossed the line potentially a little bit too late to get both.
And we'll have to see here as the 67 comes down through 3 and 4 right now. And as we said, Joe, yeah, he's not going to have time to get it done. And that second lap really is the money lap. So Harvey's going to put himself into 22nd. Not going to do any better.
Well, then, that means our results are set. And Taylor Stout, who's not in the championship hunt, is going to take those 2 bonus points for the pole position. Let's go through our starting order here today. 66 starting at the top of things with Octavio Rondoletto to his outside. It is James O'Brien who will start from third as Matthew Long will begin from P4. You've got Chris Hudson starting fifth, Ryan Goodell in sixth, and Daniel Simmons in seventh. Bradley Holly good enough for eighth here in quali, with ninth going to Zemke and Cowgill starting from 10th.
To the inside of row 6, it will be Trent Dinkle, followed by Rob Tracy, with Josh Conker and Andrew Payne lining up behind them. In 15th, it'll be Jamie Knopp, followed by Robert Besaw Jr., with Skip Gandy and Abner Acosta all the way down in 18th. Mike Witt will line up 19th, followed by Troy Hutchinson, who rounds out your top 20.
Mark Kalin is P21 with Pat Harvey in 22nd. Then it's Brandon Walter 23rd. Baron Hilton starts 24th today, followed by Scotty Johnson in 25th. Danny Cervantes 26th and Jose Medina in 27th. CM Pennington was the last one to set a time in 28th. Charles Sumner, Carlos Romero are going to be last on the grid of our 30 cars competing, which means the lowest points scorable today is going to be 13 out there if you get at least halfway through the race. Once we pass that halfway mark, everybody who has achieved half those laps, they're going to get points on the board. They're going to wait to start from behind the pace car here. And just to add some extra spice into things, DJ, it is fairly hot on the track surface today. I wonder if that could play a part in some of the tire strategy.
It very well could. You can see it there, 99 degrees Fahrenheit out on track. So those tires are going to be very, very hot. Drivers are going to have to be careful, especially not to put too much wheel into the car and cause any extra abrasion onto those Goodyear tires. They've got to be very, very careful. Luckily then for the low winds out there, so we're not going to get any buffeting. You're not really going to have too much of a headwind or a tailwind coming at you. It's going to be pretty straightforward racing from there on out.
All right, taking off on the pace lap. Last race of the official 2021 season. Of course, they're going to kick off 2022 with at least one race here in December. But before we get to that, we're going to say goodbye to the Gen 6 Cup car, and they move over to the new next-gen car. As far as this year-long championship goes and the playoffs go, O'Brien is the highest position after we made all that drama of him qualifying very poorly on his first lap. He'll start from third. Trent Dinkle is the lowest starter of those four, and he is in 11th. All right, let's take a look at our onboard cams here. And we've got one of our playoff hopefuls, Trent Dinkle, going to be giving us a perspective. We also have Bradley Holly giving us a little bit of a view. And then I believe Carlos Romero also showing us something. I'm not sure if we've seen Carlos before. I think we may have. But glad he is joining in on the fun, which is about to start because the green flag is out. And as Taylor Stout gets on the loud pedal, not the greatest to jump over the fields. They start to pick up speed down into turn one. Around the outside, Octavio Rondoletto with a good bit of momentum. But he's going to have to go the long way around. So that longer distance before they are fully up to speed. Doesn't look like it's as hot. They continue on down the backstretch. And now it's starting to come in. The 48 getting ahead as they go 3 wide for second.
A little bit of a bump draft there from Matthew Long, and that was James O'Brien moving his way forward. Everybody absolutely swamping your Pulse or Taylor Stout there as they made their way down the backstretch. You see him diving down onto the apron. That is allowed out on circuit as Rondoletto will lead this first lap.
O'Brien moves up into second, so in the best position amongst them. But Matthew Long carrying a good head of steam off of turn 2. He is going to now move himself into the best position for the playoffs, into P2. And behind them, Taylor Stout finally slots in fourth place. Goodell in fifth before you get a little bit of a break to those behind with Hudson and Hawley and a few others battling for position. We are underway, and so far so good. Hasn't been too frantic out here.
No, it hasn't, but I've got to say, James O'Brien looking particularly scrappy this early in the race. That was a pretty hefty block he put on Taylor Stout, and now dives down to make it 3 wide as they go into 3 and 4. Able to pull himself into the lead. James O'Brien does. He knows what's at stake here, and he's fighting for it.
I wonder if this is some of the bonus points that drivers are looking for. And O'Brien, I don't think, has led one yet, but Octavio Rondoletto has. So that's one more bonus point for him and helps him out. But up at the point, it is Matthew Long who led that one across. So he also gets a bonus point. But again, Matthew Long is perhaps the least likely to be able to take the season championship, having really needing a DNF today from Rondoletto to be able to overtake him.
Indeed, and you saw a pretty tense moment there between Trent Dinkle and Bradley Holly. Dinkle looking a little bit squirmy there, coming through the corners, running 3 wide. That is the 43 of Chris Hudson to his outside, or at least it was, as now Dinkle's able to move up onto that high line, and now he and Bradley Holly go side by side into 3. The 48 holding, or the 46 rather, holding on behind them. That is Daniel Simmons.
Indeed, still side by side here for that 6th position between Dinkle and Holly, with Holly just getting a nose ahead that time across the line. They're going to carry on racing wheel to wheel. Ooh, 43 doesn't look too hot into the turn. He drops back a fair bit behind them. Not sure if he got loose or what there.
I'm not sure either, Joe, but he was absolutely getting swamped as this battle... I gotta be honest here, between these two drivers, they know what's at stake, and there you can see a little bit of a look over from Trent Dinkle. I gotta be honest, I'm not sure that running side by side like this and leaving a little opportunity in the middle there for the 46 of Daniel Simmons to be able to pop in is the best way to try to get forward. If they want to win this season-long or this year-long championship, they have got to make their way up and get past James O'Brien.
Right now, though, it looks like Dinkle's finally going to win out on that one, as Simmons, still stuck up on the high side, is now vying with Bradley Holly. They come onto the main straight. Look at how much that wheel is moving as well. He gets just enough space to get back on. Oh, but they bang doors down into 1. That's going to send Simmons backwards. Looks like down below, I believe the 31 and the 2 are going to try and take that spot away, but only the 2 is able to get ahead. 3 wide behind them now, with Cal Gill stuck in the middle. Down on the bottom, Chris Hudson gets a little bit involved. And you weren't kidding when you said they could take multiple lines here today, because they are all spread out.
They really are. This is looking a little bit more like Talladega than it is Chicagoland, as we continue to watch these battles just absolutely erupting all over the place. Abner Acosta there on the back of your screen, he is up 7 already on the day, as well as Jamie Knopp there in the number 2 machine. So some good movers thus far. There you see Abner and Cowgill trying to make a move on Daniel Simmons to get himself up forward.
Off the corner, Cowgill down low, with Simmons up high, crossing the line. Looking to be Cowgill with just a bit of a nose ahead down into the turn. Looks like Simmons finally going to give up that one. Haven't missed a whole lot up front. They're racing more how we expected this early in today's event. Long, O'Brien, Stout, Rondoletto, and Goodell in the breakaway up there.
They are indeed, Joe, but we just got some bad news for the 184 of Bradley Holly. Oh, that's 3. That's Besaw Jr. up into the wall, and we've got a yellow.
So Besaw Jr. going to be the first to get some serious damage amongst our drivers. Now, this, unfortunately, I think was more the fault of the 14, who's going to make some contact with him. That's Robert Tracy. But I think the 3 got the worst of the damage, because he really pancaked the right-hand side. You can see it there. We're going to get the replay. This starts on the backstretch, with the 14, for some reason, glancing the outside wall. It is a curved straight, if you will. So I wonder if he just, whoa, that was a big hop over the access road for the 3. But I wonder if the 14 just kind of didn't anticipate that curve well enough.
Yeah, it can come out to bite you, Joe, and especially with that red branding around the outside of it, it kind of draws your attention in a little bit, frankly, and it's easy to do. That was the other thing that I wanted to take a look at there, so good catch by our director, Baron Hilton, and that's the 25 of Cervantes, I believe, as they got a little bit chippy. It looks like Cervantes just didn't realize that there was a big of a checkup as there was, and he got hit out into that outside wall.
A little bit of chatter between Dinkle and Holly. I think Holly apologizing for some slight wheel-to-wheel contact they made. And you were reporting just before we had that caution that we think Holly's got a little bit of damage to the rear bumper. Is that going to be a big worry around here? Is it a fast enough track that you don't want any aero damage whatsoever?
It kind of is, Joe. I mean, 18 degrees banking. This is a pretty quick track. You really don't want to have anything disrupting the aero on the car. Now, he should be okay. He should be fine with the way that it goes. It looks like it's in an area just on the right side of the car. Not too terribly bad. It's not going to really upset him. You're not going to really be worried about aero damage unless you get something directly on the front fender or the rear spoiler.
Shows you how much more I'm doing road commentary. I'm used to the exhaust being at the back of the car. It was the exhaust damage, not the rear bumper. Just got confused there. And saw a few drivers into pit lane. And I think some of them were indeed regular stops, not trying to repair damage. I see Zemke, looks like he took a stop for tires. Sumner, Baron Hilton as well. There was a 6-second stop for Jose Medina. Did he only take 2, maybe?
I took a look at it, and that does indeed look like what it was. So just trying to get a little bit of track position there. As I said, track position not necessarily king like it is at places like Martinsville that we've been to most recently, but you do want to try to move your way forward a little bit, because if you get caught in a battle, we saw how quickly those first 4 or 5 cars could break away from the rest of the field. You don't want to get caught out like that.
Absolutely. So we still have the lights on, so we need to go at least one more time around. And currently, it is still Long, our best place for the year-long championship. But for the Season 4 championship, as it sits right now, Rondoletto should still clinch in that 4th position, no matter where his rivals wind up.
Indeed. And talking about damage, Joe, I was just kind of scrolling my way through the field. There's also, we heard that chatter between Bradley Holly and Trent Dinkle. It looks like Dinkle's got a little bit of right rear damage to that 501 machine. So maybe a little bit affecting there. You can see it. That rear bumper just crinkled up ever so slightly there on the right side. Don't know if that's going to affect his speed too much. I think he should be okay. That spoiler looks a little bent in, so that could hurt him.
Double file, so they're getting ready to go green on lap 15 here. Still plenty left to go in this race. And I have a feeling this is just ramping up as it sits right now. We didn't get too many laps of racing to really get a feel for how the long run will evolve. Because again, this is open setup for these cars. Some drivers might have it ready to go just a little bit longer on those tires than others around them. And pace car should be peeling off to release Long here in just a moment. And I don't think we've seen a lap led by James O'Brien yet. He's going to want those bonus points to maximize everything he can out here, because he will probably need it with the way that Rondoletto's looking so far. Pace car is in, and Long's waiting for the jump. There it is. Green flag is out, and he gets a good run over the number 9. He's going to try and get in front of Stout, who started from 3rd almost immediately, and he's going to top 4, get down to the bottom side quickly.
Indeed they do, and behind them, Trent Dinkle looking like the one who's trying to make the best moves right now as he runs to the high side of the number 7 there of Ryan Goodell, trying to make that work. They are 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 all the way back.
Wow. And, well, make that 3 up in the positions between Dinkle, Goodell, and Holly there, vying for 5th place. across the apron and into turn one again, and they get back to Noah's Ark style with Dinkle to the outside of Goodell. A little bit of different lines between Stout and O'Brien. O'Brien riding up high, Stout trying down low, as these drivers are basically forced into those high and low lines at this stage. Still nobody giving up amongst this group in the mid-pack.
No, they are not. They really know what's at stake, and they're pushing for it as hard as they can. Even some of these drivers that aren't necessarily involved in the chase or the Season 4 championship, but everybody absolutely going. Dinkle there, still running that high side. Noah's Ark, as you said, Joe. Holly, the first to fall back into line. He's going to pop in behind Jamie Knopf, maybe try to get a little bit of a draft and figure out where he wants to go. But Abner Acosta said, thank you for moving. I'll come up the inside.
Acosta wants as many spots as he can get, coming back from 26 points behind at the start of this race. He got bumped out of the year-long championship, unfortunately. The last round when we were down in Miami, coming off the corner, you can see how much speed the high side is giving our drivers. This is 31 streams on by. Costa falling back to 10th because of that. He's going to get back into line. So now they're starting to settle in. And yeah, it looks like it's pretty much all single file well down until the back of the field at this stage.
And by the way, Joe, we were wondering about the 501 in Trent Dinkle's top speed, and if that rear spoiler damage was going to affect anything. I can report that he is right in line with all the other drivers around him, posting about a 182 or so and driving really, really well. Car got a little bit squirrely as Goodell came up under him, took a little bit of the air off the rear wing, but, well, that would happen if you had spoiler damage or not.
Now going to run up to the high side of Goodell. Just got a great run out of 4. Goodell's going to fight it and keep side by side as they work through 1 and 2. On the back stretch, though, what I'm seeing is the high side is the way to go. We had a bit of a wiggle from the 93 of Andrew Payne. He saved it. I'm not sure if he touched the wall or not, but the car definitely had to shoot to the bottom before he could get a control on it.
And we also had a little bit of that way in the back of the field. Mark Kalin and a couple other cars getting very, very close. Carlos Romero, making some friends with the safer barrier as he was able to get his number 4 back up and around. Whoa, look at that up front. Everybody trying to run as far as they can onto that curved backstretch.
Yeah, and suddenly after they went single file for just about 2 laps, everybody had had enough of that. Holly moves ahead and gets himself into 6. Cowgill looked a little sketchy as he got mighty close to the number 5 of Acosta down the front stretch. Acosta also thinking 3 wide here potentially. That's Goodell and the 2 of Knopf in front of him. But they're going to stay 2 by 2 once again. The 7 washes up. Can he hold it? He does. Another driver that has to catch it as it slides off of turn 2.
I think that is going to be a theme we're seeing all day here, Joe. Drivers looking very, very squirrely coming off of that corner. And the temperature out on track, it just continues to rise. We are just over about 1:40 p.m. virtual standard time. Track temperature has already risen 2 degrees since the drop of the green flag. It's up to 101.
And finally, the 7 can pick the high side. He was pinched down all the way around the track, and the car did not look happy as we go 4 wide behind them. Guys, we're on lap 23 here. That was Zemke, Payne, Simmons, and Hudson who made it work. But there are some ambitious drivers out here for the finale who have nothing to lose.
Indeed, they don't, and they absolutely looked like they were going to swallow up the 99 of Brandon Walter, but Walter held his line. They're now 3 wide, crossing the stripe. Come on, boys, keep this together.
Down through 1 and 2 once again, and onto the back stretch, washing up a little bit high there. That was Sumner, and the 93 down below him. Going to try and keep hold of this as well. Andrew Payne, ooh, and back underneath we go 3 wide once again. Sumner gonna get himself into 14th place with that move. A nice cutback, actually.
Yeah, very nice cutback. Sumner doing a good job to try to poke his way forward through the field. He's currently our highest mover of the race, up 15 positions, Joe.
Three wide again in front of them. Oh, and we got a tip. That was Acosta who got into the side of Zemke. He's into the grass. He hits the bump. He swings back across, and he's going to hit multiple cars. Hudson gets involved. I think Simmons maybe got a piece of it. No, it was Andrew Payne. Oof. This all started between the 5 and the 57. Acosta thought he was clear coming down low. Didn't anticipate the 57 having the momentum he did, and it was just the lightest of touches. It was enough to send him down into the grass, and unfortunately, when he hits this access road, that's good night.
Yeah, just tips that rear car up into the air, front loads those tires, and he is a passenger at that point. You could see him trying to reel that back under him, and unfortunately, I've got to say that was a little bit of an accident of Abner's own making. He cut down on Zemke pretty heartily there, and oh man, watch this. Oh, you hate to see that. Absolutely nowhere for him to go, just a helpless passenger there.
I think Baron Hilton made a pretty lucky escape on this one. He may have had a little bit of a touch. He went 3 wide with the accident still to his outside. This is the 00 car that had this great avoidance here. There he is on your screen. The red and black machine up towards the top. Watch this.
There. Wah!
Yeah.
Wah!
Inches to spare on that one. But he made it work. Hearing he may have gotten a little bit of ghost contact from it. We just finished pit stops. Apologies for not showing that on screen. Long is ahead of Stout. O'Brien loses a position in that. Trent Dinkle back out in 4th. Rondoletto still among the top 5, so he's still where he needs to be. Again, top 7 or higher, Rondoletto will clinch.
Exactly. So Octavio doing what he needs to do out here. And trust me, that 48 machine knows where he needs to be. We haven't seen him be that aggressive this early on. And I have to think that's going to continue, Joe. I imagine he would be fighting to stay in the positions where he will be taking that championship home and maybe backing off a little bit in terms of trying to fight his way farther up the field.
And we have to remember that the 48 is probably on a mission all season long because he lost last season's championship by a single point. And it wasn't when the race finished. It was after it was finished. There was a steward's decision due to the nature of how they score cautions in this series, where you can get penalty points if you're deemed at fault for a caution. He got one of those penalty points post-race, and it denied him the championship after it was all said and done. O'Brien was the one that came away with that one by that single point. And instead, the roles are a bit reversed here. O'Brien really needs to be able to get a very good race out here today. And though he has been quick, doesn't seem like he's been as quick as Rondoletto has been, who is quickest in practice and second quickest in qualifying.
Yeah, Octavio really at the end of this season just seems like he has put on the afterburners, Joe, and it continues to show out here. But as we've said, it's a very long race. We haven't really seen long running from these cars. We haven't seen them do a long run on a single set of tires. They've only really ran, I think, in essence, about maybe 23, 24 laps on that first set before everybody dove down the pits. That's obviously excluding yellows.
Yeah, that's a good point. They didn't do a whole lot to them. Now, here's the stat from this season that really still confuses me every time I see it. Holly, who we mentioned, is trying to take the championship as well for season 4, well, as well as the year-long championship. He has not won this season. 0 on that scorecard for wins, despite being third in the points and only 16 behind Rondoletto, who has 2 to his name. This is the same Bradley Holly that it sometimes nearly, and I think he may have taken seasons where he won every single race on some of the oval series. So Bradley Holly has discovered that there is suddenly a lot more talent out here, but he's known that, and he's stood up to it quite well. But it'll be something else in this series this season if he manages to take the championship without winning a single one. But it's a testament to his consistency. That's still a long ways away. We're going to get ready to go green once again. And once more, it's Matthew Long who has control as the pace car is in and the green flag is out. He waited on it this time, and there was a big checkup for Rondoletto behind him. Compromised his speed, but I think he'll be able to get away with it.
Yeah, it doesn't look like anybody's going to be too aggressive, although Bradley Holly is going to try to follow Trent Dinkle around that outside line. That's Patrick Cowgill slotting in behind them. So a little bit of a 3-wide run there for everybody. Ooh, Holly looking a little bit squirrely. Maybe those tires not fully up to temperature yet. Rondoletto there came down a little bit close on that apron. I think that car wanted to upset on him.
And Holly got loose again 2 times through 3 and 4 that time. He's falling back to 7th. Yeah, it doesn't seem to like the short run as it sits right now. And he's going to try and bring this thing a little bit down lower. It drifts back up to the high side and into the wall ahead of him. That's Cowgill.
Yeah, Cowgill just washed up that track and made contact with the safer barrier on the outside of the backstretch. He'll be able to keep going, but definitely some right side damage to that machine.
Well, that is not what he wanted on this situation. Everybody, once again, kind of fanning out, looking for their own little piece of racetrack here. But Holly gets back up to at least 8th position, possibly 7th, as he races side by side with Simmons in the 46. There you see our leaders, still Long leading Stout, but O'Brien not close to the bumper of those two.
No, he's really not. James looks like he's falling back a little bit there. Trent Dinkle doing a good job to just keep his name up there as he rides around in 4th. Taylor Stout there setting the fastest lap of the race thus far as he tries to hunt in on Matthew Long, and he looks like he may be getting a little bit closer.
And Long can't afford to give this one up as long as he's just thinking about the playoffs championship, because he will still be the winner in that with everybody positioned how they are. Stout not in that hunt. The 66 will obviously deny him valuable points if he doesn't win for the season championship, but Long is just about out of opportunities because we're going to get to lap 72 or 73, and then he is unable to take the championship after that point as long as Rondoletto is still out there rolling laps. They come out of 3 and 4. Matthew Long still plugs away at the front. They're now single file through those top 5, top 6. And it looks like behind them, even though they've lost touch, those behind are kind of getting down into one row as well.
I'll tell you who wasn't getting down into one row, though. That was Patrick Cowgill. He had a little bit of an excursion almost. Came down onto the apron across the start-finish line and darn near lost the rear end of that 62 Ford. Very lucky to hold on to that thing as he continues to battle with Patrick Cowgill here.
And Mark Kalin there on the bottom in the orange. Up to the high side, Patrick Cowgill crossing the line. In front of them, it's been mostly single file amongst Zemke, Simmons, Goodell, and Holly. Holly up to 7th spot, but he's about 2 seconds behind the rest of them. We watch from Sumner's point of view, who's just behind this dueling pair coming down the backstretch.
And Sumner still looks like your highest mover there on the day. The only other driver that has come close to that 15 places up mark is Brandon Walter. Sumner just kind of picking his way through the field here. I like this. It's very methodical out of the 98, doing a great job to just find the areas where he can attack and find the areas where he needs to maybe hold back a little bit and just let the race come to him.
Kalin back in the line in 13th now. Are we getting settled in at this point? Some cloud cover hopefully cooling things down briefly as they swing back onto the front stretch. Wonder if we'll see more drivers, though, as the race goes on, who will start to feel a little bit loose, because we did see some drivers.
We've got multiple cars around on the start-finish line, Joe.
Yep, looks like Romero involved in it. I see Robert Tracy. And I think Baron Hilton involved on this one for sure. I think this started between Hilton and Romero.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at it. It looks like Hilton and Romero got a little bit chippy coming through 3 and 4. That forced Hilton up into the wall, and then Hilton came down on the track and just kind of collected a few other cars along the way.
They're going to get a little side shot, and he hadn't totally caught it here. Well, he just about did, but who was that? Nope, he didn't avoid it. That was the car of the 14 of Tracy.
Yeah, he definitely didn't avoid that, Joe. Definitely caught some major damage there. We take another look at that first impact. So close to holding on to that for the 0-0 of Baron Hilton, and there is that shot on Tracy. So it looks like 3 cars taking the major damage there in this, our 3rd caution.
Yeah, already up to our 3rd caution. It's been a little bit plagued tonight. They do have a time limit on this. Let's not forget, it's 90 minutes that they have to try to get this in under. Hasn't really been an issue for most races. I think Martinsville maybe, I might be thinking of a different series though, but we've had very few that have come close to that in recent times. Cervantes is going to be pitting in. Looks like Pat Harvey is in, Baron Hilton, Jose Medina. I think these are mostly cars trying to take repairs. Tracy, naturally, Patrick Cowgill. Everybody else stays out.
Yeah, indeed. Looks like Josh Conker's going to get the lucky dog wave around here to be able to get himself back onto the lead lap. So that'll be good for the number 54. None of the leaders opting to come into the pits here, and can't exactly say I blame them as we continue going around here. Yeah, I'm starting to do the math here, Joe. If we continue on this pace, I'm not sure we're going to get this thing under that time limit.
That would certainly be an interesting way to end things. But as the drivers come around, we should, I think, get lights out this time by. And then we should be good to go. We've lost quite a few drivers already. CM Pennington has unfortunately called it a night. Chris Hudson is gone. Abner Acosta also prematurely out of things, as Andrew Payne is out, and Rob Tracy is still taking repairs. We'll see if he returns to the track. He and Carlos Romero, with the hits that they took, might have to call it a night and end the season early.
Would be a bit of a shame for those drivers, as you see their lights staying on the pace car, so we'll be at least one more under yellow around here. But yeah, a couple of those drivers still down pit lane, just kind of banging away on the cars, seeing if they can maybe get themselves back on track, just pick up a couple of extra points. Remember, got to finish over the half of the laps here to be able to get points in the Precision Racing League, so that could be what they're aiming for.
So 145 laps, dividing that into 3. Believe, I don't think it divides into 3 actually, but should be roughly around 46 or 47 laps, which we haven't hit yet. And we have an hour remaining officially. I've pulled up our official clock just to keep tabs on it, just in case. And there's still a long ways to go, but based on the trends we're seeing, might as well make sure that we stay abreast of things. And now, this time for sure, we're going to get the lights out on the pace car. We're going to go 2 wide. So we'll restart on lap 43.
Indeed, we are, and once again, it's going to be Matthew Long holding on to the lead of this race. Taylor Stout will be starting to his outside. O'Brien and Dinkle lining up behind them, and I was watching James O'Brien on that last run, Joe. He looked like he had some speed starting to come in to that number 9 machine, so he may be one to watch out for the first couple of laps after we go green.
Okay, so very few changes. of our starting order. Long, Stout, O'Brien, with Dinkle to the outside on this restart. Rondoletto, as it sits, would still be our Season 4 champion. Long would be our 2021 champion. And they're getting a little bit of chatter from some of the race stewards here to try and clean it up, try and get a nice good run in. See if they can deliver on that as they come out of turn 4 now. Long will be given control. Last time he waited a while before he got on the throttle. Is he going to try and go a little earlier this time? Pace car ducks in. He's not going early, and it does check up that bottom line pretty significantly. Green flag is out. Goodell gets a good jump on the outside. He is going to try and make up a few spots as they go 3 wide very quickly here up at the top of the field. Top 3 settle in, and O'Brien gets back into P2.
Does indeed, moves his way forward, so that chase is on for O'Brien, seeing what he can do. Still a couple wide there in the back, but your front 4 running in single file there. That is, looking behind the leading pack, that is Rondoletto starting to get a little bit swamped there. That is Jamie Knopf and Ryan Goodell working around him a little bit. I'm also seeing Bradley Holly in that 184 coming up to his low side.
I almost thought it looked like maybe the 48 got a bit loose, and they're all washing up off the track, ducking down low. Dinkle wants to try and overtake the 66 of Stout. They're going to go wheel to wheel for P3, coming through turns 3 and 4 and on to the front stretch once again. Everybody swinging down across that apron. And that time across the line, Stout was ahead of Dinkle just by a few hundredths of a second, but they'll carry on the battle through 1 and 2.
They will indeed, and behind them, that looks like Jamie Knopf able to officially pull himself ahead of Octavio Rondoletto, and there goes Goodell down to the inside of the 48. That 48 not looking as strong here on this restart. He's in trouble.
He's down to 7th, and that's the farthest down he's able to be while still clinching the championship. Make it 8th now underneath him. Daniel Simmons gets a spot. He might even lose more. I don't think he likes that high line.
No, he does not. We've seen him running very low this entire race, and he has just been forced down onto that high line. And I think Bradley Holly, who is a very, very cerebral driver in this PRL Cup Series, he knows it. Diving down to the inside of Rondoletto, trying to take that preferred low line away from him, cuts down onto the apron. He's going to start to move his way forward, I think.
Oh, and they almost make contact for a brief moment there. They were kind of converging. Thankfully, Rondoletto figured it out finally. Oh, but the 184 starting to get loose. The car washes up. Look at how slow they are off the corner. They're all plugged up behind that Simke, Kalen, who have nowhere to go.
Indeed, it's an absolute hornet's nest behind these two, just being the cork in the bottle here as they go around. Another big wiggle there from Bradley Holly. That 184 looking very, very squirrely. Rondoletto knows it, starts to pull ahead using that momentum, and Holly's going to slot back into line.
The usual laser focus as we watch the onboard for Bradley Holly there. He'll at least stop it at 9th place. Rondoletto in 8th, so he's outside the cutoff point, and that's where we unfortunately have to start doing some math here today. A little bit of 3 wide down the back stretch amongst a few of the cars. I think that is Walter in the 99, who's eventually going to get it back in with a few of the drivers. He goes above Sumner.
Yes, he does. Sumner trying to hold on to that, now up 16, but that may soon fall back there a little bit as Walter keeps driving that car on up. Yes, he is able to get past Charles Sumner, and here comes the 54 on Sumner as well. That's Josh Conker. He's able to get going. Charles Sumner forced down to that low line here. Clearly doesn't like it too much.
Josh Conker may have put the wrong setup on the car. We're trying to confirm whether or not that is a thing. Whoa, he looks pretty quick right there, though. Ducking underneath 99, even with the damage. It's looking pretty handy. But this is all happening behind leaders who are stretching away. Long and O'Brien are putting some serious distance on Taylor Stout in 3rd. This battle back there between Dinkel and Goodell that we didn't see on screen is settled in the favor of Dinkel, who gets up to 4th.
It has indeed, and look at this. We are Noah's Ark coming in through 1 and 2. That is the number 2 machine of Jamie Knopf and Daniel Simmons, running ahead of Bradley Holly and Octavio Rondoletto, and that is Holly fully ahead of Rondoletto. Rondoletto down to 9th.
What has happened to the 48 here? Oh, just drifting up a little bit. Simmons, I thought, was going to get into the side of the 184. There's some scary moments here. We're still not even halfway through this race. Holly continuing to try to fend off Simmons. Rondoletto now down to 9th place.
Exactly, and Octavio thought about tucking up behind Bradley Holly there for a second, but again, that 48 car just doesn't look fully comfortable on the high line. Now he's going to have an opening. Dives down to the low line on the inside there of Daniel Simmons. Going to try to get the run off the corner, but that 48 looking like it wanted to wash up. I think he's going to lose a little bit of time, but able to get down onto the apron and keep it going. He starts to get a nose ahead. That shorter distance traveled, able to help out Rondoletto, and there he is back up into 8th place. Simmons hoping not to get completely railroaded there. Rondoletto's going to cut up into his path. He will secure it, but I don't think Simmons is done with this quite yet.
Doesn't seem like it, but he's at least gotten in those tire tracks for the time being. A little bit of a higher line down through 3 and 4. And then comes back to following him up in front of that. That looked like a little bit of a battle amongst some of our drivers vying for the top 5. That was Dinkel going around the outside of Stout, and very quickly.
He's got some speed and able to keep it off the wall, and Ryan Goodell says, I will have some of that. Please also goes around Taylor Stout, as now Goodell moves his way up into 4th place. Trent Dinkel currently sitting on the final step of the podium, but he's got about a second to work his way up towards James Bryan and Matthew Long in the lead.
Stout's been dropping this time. The driver who put it on pole doesn't seem to really have the race pace out here today. He was holding on to 2nd and 3rd for much of it. And now in this last race restart, the car is nowhere to be seen as they come off of 2. And yeah, look at it, still losing spots now to Bradley Holly there. 6th place for the 184. I get the sense, though, that Trent Dinkel, who kind of surprised even himself with the win last time out at Homestead, has suddenly used that momentum to his advantage, because, my goodness, he's been very good in this race.
Yeah, he really, really has. And we talked a little bit about that with him, about sort of momentum building on momentum. You just get that confidence boost as a driver going, yeah, I can do this. That's exactly the kind of thing you need leading down into the final stages of a championship like this. So Trent doing a great job to keep everybody at bay right now. Goodell, ooh, that looked a little squirrely there for him. I think Jamie Knopf is going to have a little bit of a look potentially as they go across the start-finish line. No, he's going to stick it in line there, just hold up behind in the draft.
Looking down low, we get another caution. Skip Gandy involved in this one. The 1 goes around Troy Hutchison. Let's see. I think this starts with the 1 and Gandy. Oh, and you know what? This was helped by Charles Sumner, who's going to get a little bit of the back of Skip Gandy, and that's going to kick it off. So there's Sumner in the orange and green. Just makes a little contact with the 20. 20 gets the 1, and they all suddenly have to take avoidance. Looks like 4 cars really involved. I think there's a little smack to the back from Mike Witt, unable to go anywhere. Nope, he got clear of it. It was Pat Harvey, actually.
Yeah, so here we take the onboard. Oh, there's just that little bit of a love tap, but everybody able to get through relatively scot-free. There's obviously going to be some damage there to Hutchinson and a couple other of those cars, but it could have been a lot worse on that, Joe. I anticipate all of the leaders coming down pit lane this time around, but we will have to wait and see.
We got to remember, though, 5 total sets of tires out here today. And we've already had a few drivers that have been in twice. This is going to be the 2nd time for most of the leaders there within the top 10. And yeah, everybody is in. I don't see anyone staying out on my timing sheet at all. So Pit lane goes very busy. And down to their stalls, not seeing anybody miss quite yet. Indeed, it does look like everybody is in there cleanly. So back out onto the track. Who is this? That is Josh Conker. Did Conker miss his pit stall?
I'm not sure if he did or not there, Joe. Looks like he may have potentially, but at least able to get back and going.
No, he went in. I think he took a splash and dash. I don't think he took tires. Got to double check on that.
Interesting call there from Josh Conker.
Yeah, no tires. Wow.
All right, a little bit of alternate strategy starting to play out here. I like it.
So he is going to lead the way now. Matthew Long will get demoted down in a second. He came out first amongst those. O'Brien out second. Trent Dinkle behind them. So no positions changed there pretty much after that, other than losing the spot to Conker. 87 laps to go. We're at 48 minutes officially left on the clock. And we're getting a little bit better runs. It's kind of building bit by bit for our drivers. So we'll see if we can maybe get that going until we have super long runs for the last bit of it.
Indeed, and that has been a little bit of what we've seen play out over these races. We've seen some chippiness early on in the season, and then it sort of leads out and lets us get into some longer runs. And, you know, Joe, we were talking about the 66 of Taylor Stout, and I went back and I checked over my numbers. If you remember, before we came to that second yellow, that was about 25 or so laps into this race, he was starting to drop back a little bit at that point. So I don't know why. I have to think that 66 may not be as good on the long run pace, that it's got some good burst speed, but over the endurance of a longer run, it's not exactly holding up.
Yeah, and that would make sense with his qualifying pace as well, since he seemed lightning quick on that one, but just doesn't seem to have it underneath him once they start tagging the laps along. The other one, though, is what happened to Rondoletto there, too. Didn't really see a drastic change in the track temperatures. Didn't see much in the way of a change from how the other races started, how the other restarts were, because he wasn't dropping down before. It's just for some reason on that one, the car started a bit loose, and then he never really seemed to recover.
Yeah, so I'm not sure there what happened to Rondoletto. Maybe the team can make a little bit of a tire pressure adjustment, just try to make some slight changes, or see what they can do for that 48 machine, because he is in the danger zone right now. It's not an auto clench there for Rondoletto, currently being back in 9th. He needs to be 7th or better to lock in this championship, as we've said.
Again, he could still wind up winning it, especially as O'Brien sits right now in 3rd place. I think that 11th place would still do it for him. Some of it will come down to the bonus points. It could be tight. I doubt he wants another situation where it comes to a single point for him. Don't want to really leave it to chance too much. But the pace car is going to release them here on lap 62. As we ride on board with Dinkle, let's see what it's like in an angry group of cars as they go almost immediately this time. Green flag is out.
Indeed, they do. Riding on board with Dinkle, you can see that little triangle starting to form ahead of him. He's going to try to find his fastest way through there. Conker getting swallowed up by Long and James O'Brien, and Dinkle able to spies his way through there as well. He's going to move his way up into 2nd, and is he going to have a move on 1st? No, he's going to hold it back in the line.
Strategists furiously taking notes. Take tires is the call if you've got them, as they come around to finish the 1st lap. And this is important. O'Brien will lead a lap this time. That's a bonus point for him to match the one that Rondoletto got earlier.
And speaking of Rondoletto, he had a lightning restart. He is all the way up into 5th place. Make that 4th as he works his way on the outside of Ryan Goodell. He's going to start closing in on the back of Matthew Long. He is right back up into this fight.
So Rondoletto, once he gets some fresh tires on, looks a lot more steady. And as they come across the timing line, a look around the outside from Matthew Long, trying to fight back on Trent Dinkle, moving to the high side. Can he carry the speed off of turn 2? Doesn't look like it at first. Now it's starting to come back at him. Dinkle has to leave the space. 28's going to be able to get in front of the 501 briefly. Will the job be done now through 3 and 4? It looks like it will.
Yes, it will. That, ladies and gentlemen, is how you work the high side. He cuts right down in front of Trent Dinkle. I don't know how Dinkle just didn't completely lift out of that. I know I would have if that was that quick of a cut down in front of me, but that's why Trent is in the car and I'm up in the booth, Joe.
Great stuff amongst them. Goodell's starting to slip back a little bit as well. And he's not looking too happy in these early stages. He's fighting with Knopf there. As you see our leader O'Brien now ahead of Long. Now can Long take this one back as well from the 9 car? Does he want to take it back from the 9 car yet?
Well, I don't know. I've got to think there's a little bit of an advantage in running in clear air. You get to pick your line a little bit more. Probably not nearly as abrasive on the tires because you're not being forced to respond to a line and you're able to run in the line that you would prefer to. So I've got to think he probably does want to move forward, especially considering this isn't exactly a fuel limited race here. This is definitely tire limited at this point.
And those top 4 starting to get a tiny gap down to Goodell, but he's not completely dropped off of them. Bigger gap down to Simmons in 7th place that you can see forming up behind them. And I believe, yes, we are past halfway. So at this point, it is now Long and Dinkle, who have been removed from the Season 4 championship. They are no longer able to overtake Rondoletto in points.
All right, so leaving out 2 from that equation, it now continues to play out, but any of that math may prove to be null and void if Octavio Rondoletto is able to keep on the good form we've seen him have after that last restart. Holds on to the back here of this leading 4. That is Matthew Long backing off a little bit of James O'Brien. Not sure if that's in response or if he just wants to get a little bit of a better run. There you see Rondoletto crucially up above that 7th place cutoff line. If he finishes right here, that means it is championship done and dusted. Octavio Rondoletto will be your Season 4 champion.
But right now, O'Brien has the 2021 championship in his hands. But it's Long and Dinkle directly behind him. Top 3 are all drivers in the hunt for the 2021 championship.
It's exactly how you want to see a race like this finish. Yeah, the only 2 drivers here that aren't really involved in this are Ryan Goodell and Jamie Knopf there in the back. And I've got to say, I'm very, very impressed with the run that Jamie Knopf has had today. We haven't normally seen that number 2 machine up near the front of the field, and he is just running the wheels off of it here at Chicagoland.
Apologies, I looked at just a little early. We'll get this in the next 3 laps. I saw the 74 up there, and I thought that we had already, or 78 up there, and I thought that was the 78 laps, not 78 to go. So here we go. Now we're getting close to it from here as they come onto the back stretch once again. Very much a 6-car breakaway with Knopf being the last in that train. Simmons unable to keep pace with the top group.
Yeah, he has definitely fallen back down the order. And with him, Bradley Holly all the way back down there, scuppered into that fight into 9th. As this leading pack thinks about trying to break away a little bit there, but doesn't do so. There is Bradley on your screen. As I said, mired back in between Brandon Walter and Taylor Stout.
Stout still in 10th place. Now, Holly, I don't worry about as much. Holly seems to be the sort of driver that can kind of come and go as he pleases, if you will. When he wants to turn it on, he turns it on. And often when you see him down in these positions, such as 9th place, it's usually by choice. That doesn't mean that he isn't struggling, but I'm not fretting for the 184 team currently.
Yeah, nor am I. Bradley is one of those drivers you very rarely worry about. Nice little battle here shaping up, though. This is Baron Hilton, remember, who was involved in one of those earlier incidents. Troy Hutchison trying to come up behind him. And that is Josh Conker, who started this last restart on the pole. Has fallen all the way back down to 19th.
Where was he when we started that pit stop, though? That's what I want to know. Is he back where he started, or did he actually lose spots? If he lost spots, then yeah, it may have been a bit of a foolish decision. But if he's still about or back where he was, then, you know, nothing gambled, nothing gained. So
exactly, as we focus back there on Bradley Hawley, as that's the 99 ahead of him. That is Brandon Walter Hawley, looking like he's got a little bit of a run if he wants it. Tries to think about it, takes that car all the way to the grass as they cross the time and scoring line. Brings it back up to the outside wall, just trying to get it. Nice run of green we are having here, knock on wood. We're finally starting to get a chance to see what these cars will do over the course of that long run pace,
which is also now actually taking us past the halfway point here. So it is now official that Dinkel and Long are unable to claim the Season 4 championship from this point. Watching them come up into turn one once again. This is our front pack. Was a little bit of a challenge from Jamie in the number 2 machine on the 7 of Goodell a couple laps ago. Then decided he didn't really want to try and upset the apple cart too much, and he fell back in line. Since then, it's been this sort of calm procession that we've been seeing since the restart up at the front.
Yeah, and I've been keeping an eye on Jamie Knopf, as I said, as you can see him work his way around behind this battle. He had a pretty good run a couple of laps ago, and then, oh, here comes Ryan Goodell down to the inside of Octavio Rondoletto. Rondoletto's going to carry momentum around the outside, and that move's not going to work off for Goodell, but he is going to be able to keep close behind, and that brings Knopf right back on into this battle. Knopf now going to drive it to the outside.
It was a very sudden move. I wonder if he's feeling like Rondoletto's losing touch too much with Dinkel up there in third. If he feels like he can run a better pace, he might be trying to overtake, and we're seeing the two kind of move up to the high side himself. Let's see if we get another dive like that this time. No, they're all going to stay down on the very bottom line through 1 and 2.
Indeed they are, but that 7 got a little bit sideways as he came back up onto the banking after the apron. So I've got to be a little bit concerned there if I'm riding behind him at this point, that car could be a little bit unsettled. Looked like that was Skip Gandy diving on into the pits. He was going to be a lapped car that these leaders were about to come up behind.
Not really into the pits, but out of the way for sure. He was just trying to keep from causing any problems amongst this group. So he's just riding the apron for now as those two go by. That's Walter trying to get underneath Taylor Stout. The 66 and the 99 flip the cars around, and you've got the same number as we head through 3 and 4. They've got Bradley Hawley still in front of him. Hawley already 4 seconds behind O'Brien. Now this is still a little bit unusual for him. Not sure why he's riding so far back at this stage.
I'm not sure either, but just looks like he's trying to do what he can to catch back up here at this point, but we will figure it out. I guess at some point, Bradley's strategy will unveil itself to us.
A little bit of consternation from O'Brien. Doesn't like some of these lapped cars. Carlos Romero in the 4 also had a similar situation, trying to stay on the apron. He almost wiped out up into the banking, but they thankfully got through without any contact. As we go wheel to wheel, we get a little bit of contact there. The 2 catches it. Great job from Knopf. And Goodell is going to lose his spot as the 2 moves into 5.
Does indeed, and they are very, very lucky there that was not a bigger incident, but that is now allowed for Daniel Simmons to catch up to the back of this. So this is now a little 3-car battle, but they have almost completely lost touch with Octavio Rondoletto, almost a full second in front, but Goodell says, no, I want that position back, diving down onto the apron, out of the timing and scoring line, and gets the spot right back from Jamie Knopf.
Yeah, I think we can officially say they've lost that front group now. It's a bit of a distance between them. We're at 64 laps to go and 35 minutes left on the clock right now. So It is going to be quite tight, I think, on this one. But last caution, the restart was on lap 62. So we're getting at least about 20 laps. Will we get green flag stops? And that could really change things as well. How do you measure that one up and on when to bring it in?
I mean, at this point, I would assume you're going to want to try to eke this out as long as you can. I would anticipate there being another caution at this point because a lot of these drivers haven't been on these tires for long enough. We've seen how slippery they can be on the longer run pace as they start to be a little bit looser, tires wearing down. So I would wait as long as you can because you do not want to get caught making a green flag pit stop.
Certainly not, especially if you're one of the championship drivers. As they come onto the backstretch once again. That is the number 2 being chased by the 46, and it looks like Goodell has finally shaken them off of his tail. Has a gap of about half a second between himself and Knopf.
Yeah, Goodell's starting to do that, and there you see Daniel Simmons starting to get a little bit interested, taking a different line as they work their way around there. Simmons has been another good driver out there today, but they still hold a 2.5 seconds over Bradley Holly, but mired back in 8th place. There you can see him in the back of your screen as he comes around as, oh, these two now going to go side by side into 3.
Well, it looks like back to single file amongst the pair of them. Down through the apron, car splitting our camera in the pavement as they pick either side. Are we settling into things now? We get a few battles here and there. Right now it's O'Brien, Long, Dinkle, Rondeletto, your top 4. The only one not in the hunt for the 2021 championship for them is Rondeletto, but he is trying to fight for the season 4 championship himself. And in fact, he's starting to poke and prod, looking a little bit to the side of the 501. He goes up to the high side, so does James O'Brien. Matthew Long and Trent Dinkle stay low through 1 and 2.
Holding that car. I'm not sure how real of an assault that necessarily is from Octavio. It may just be a little bit of trying to figure out if he can make it work or not there for the 48. Maybe trying to scare Dinkle off of the line, but he's going to have to do a lot more than that to get by the 501. That car has proved its resolve over the past couple of races. Oh, but here comes Matthew Long trying to make a move on the outside of 2, or on the inside of 2 there. Not able to get it done, but that's going to pull Trent Dinkle right back into it. This is pretty much a 4-car scrap now.
Long starting to try and feel like he's got to make some overtakes here. Whoa, and a close moment coming off of 4. And Dinkle was scared by it. He just got on the radio, said, Octavia, what are you doing, man?
Well, I think there for Octavio, it just didn't anticipate that car rolling up the hill nearly as much as it did. But there they come. Oh, there you can see just how much Octavio's really having to wheel that Juncos Racing eSports machine. It looks very, very squirrely on the exits of 2 and 4.
That tells me if he gets pinched down, that car is going to be pretty unhappy. He needs the entire length to let it wash up. Once again, looking a little bit underneath O'Brien. Matthew Long starting to show himself in the mirrors as they come through 1 and 2 once again. Dinkle catches back up to Matthew Long as well, getting within about a car length and a half up to the back of him. We're down to 56 laps to go. By our estimations, they can just about finish this race if we don't get any more cautions. That's a big if.
It is a very big if, but as we watch this battle, I can't help but notice that Octavio Rondeletto's fallen off the back here a little bit. And as we talked about with the handling of that car and seeing it get a little bit squirrely, remember what happened at the end of the last long run, Joe? That 48 did not look happy at all. Able to gather it back up under in game, a few hundredths back. But I wonder if that car's long run pace may not be as perfect as the 48 would hope.
Ooh, getting very close to the outside wall. Dinkle is having to use quite a bit of track himself. So who dares come down to pit lane to get some fresh rubber? Who tempts fate to see if we get another caution, which would also potentially shorten the race? Is now long, looks a little loose coming off of 2. Dinkle's going to take advantage of that. He lost a lot of time up to the 9, and they're going to go door to door. But it looks like Dinkle now has to give up the ghost as he falls back.
Yeah, he got real squirrely there, and now Rondoletto right back into that equation. So ignore everything that I said about a lap and a half ago about that 48 losing some pace. He is back onto the rear end of the 501, trying to put some pressure down. Not able to keep it there, though, through 1 and 2. Falls back a little bit, poking his nose to the inside, just seeing what's available. About a car length and a half, 2 car lengths in between them.
This has worked beautifully for O'Brien, who is still plugging away up at the front. The 9 now has about 0.4 of a second over Long, the nearest car. And I wonder if he does have a car that is set up for those long runs, the way it just seems very planted currently. He's coming upon Skip Gandy along with Sumner in front of him. James is going to get underneath Skip Gandy, nice and easy down through 3 and 4. Is Sumner likewise going to let him have the inside here? Looks like they catch up to him on the front stretch. Yeah, he's going to stay way off to the outside.
Yeah, going to stay way up high there, let all those leaders go. Nice move there by James O'Brien, using Charles Sumner just as a little bit of a mental pick there, popping back up around him, seeing if he'll catch anybody out. Oh, he does catch out Rondoletto a little bit as they come off of 2.
Yeah, almost did the same thing to Dinkle, who had his line compromised on the exit. Rondoletto unfazed. He doesn't lose anything up to the 501. As we come off of turn 4 once again. 50 laps to go now, and only 27 minutes on the clock.
And we're hearing out some calls for the pits, that including being Josh Conker saying he's going to dive down pit lane right now. So that will remove a potential lapped car out of the way here for the leaders.
Well, he could be on a bit of a better strategy, though. Hard to say. He did save a set of tires, but we'll see if that actually pays him back. As we look back at Hawley once again, still ahead of Walter and Kalen. And remember, we saw a tiny bit of damage on the 184. We didn't think it cost him anything, but has it in the end, as he's been stuck back here. And now he gets a tip, a hello from Walter, and he's trying to catch it multiple times. He's almost got it. No. Oh, and he gets into him. Walter gets turned around, and there's the caution.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Just trying to hold on to that was Bradley Holly. I cannot believe he held on to it as long as he did. That looks like some pretty serious damage there to the 99, though.
And he immediately apologized to Walter. He said he was trying to catch it the whole way around. And you could see it the way that was fishtailing constantly. I'd love an onboard with the 184. See what the hands are doing at the wheel.
Yeah, there you just see that little love tap in the back. Almost. Oh.
I guess it's a bit of karmic justice that it was Walter that then got turned around. So he was the one that hit the back of him. So at least it looks like the car is still rolling. We're going to take one more look at it here with Bradley Holly. Here's the bump. Now he's trying to catch it. Back and forth, back and forth. Did clip the wall, it looked like, and then hits the front of him. And actually, it looks like that second hit is what set him pointed forward finally.
Yeah, talk a little bit about karmic justice. Exactly, Joe, that's what was able to pull him back around and save it.
All right, drivers into the pits, and this may shorten our race now as well. As they race out of the pits, it is going to be O'Brien. But look at that, Rondoletto comes out in second with a great pit stop.
Oh, that is how you get it done for Octavio Rondoletto. Just absolutely flawless, about 0.2 of a second faster than Matthew Long.
Okay, then. That changes things. O'Brien's still in position at least to take the 2021 championship, but Rondeletto is also in position to take the 2021 Season 4 championship. Now, Matthew Long, who wants to try and beat James O'Brien, will want to try and get past Rondeletto as soon as possible. Dinkle came out behind Long as well. And where is Holly? Holly's down in 18th. He took a long stop to get some repairs because of that contact with the car and the wall. He's got even more work out ahead of him. You know, I am gonna have to go back and search through the archives. I can't remember the last time we had a cup season that Holly didn't take a win.
Yeah, it has been a very, very long time since that has happened at all. I can't even think of it off the top of my head, Joe.
You see him on screen right now. Got to go another time around before we'll go double file. So we'll restart what looks like on lap 102 in that case. We've still got, looks like 24 drivers rolling. We've lost Besaw Jr., Pennington, Hudson, Acosta, Payne, and Tracy. I see Skip Gandy taking some more repairs down on the lane. Baron Hilton appears to be as well. We got 21 drivers on the lead lap. No, 22 of them, actually. Did Josh Conker stay on the lead lap? No, he stayed out, excuse me. So he's getting back on the lead lap.
Right, I think that is correct there. So obviously because he came in, took that late stop before that yellow came out, but he will get his lap back here, but he will have a little bit of older tires, so still a little bit of off sequence there for Josh Conker.
Okay, we go double file now. What are we going to get to the end of this race? We're going to restart with what looks like about 21 minutes left to go, with 45 laps left to go, considering most of the drivers are doing around 30 to 32 second laps. I think we can officially say that we are not going to see the full lap distance for this race. This has become a timed race now, which means, as far as strategy goes on this one, I assume everybody's going to try and get to the finish on this set of tires and make the 44 laps that they have to run. But they're going to be very tired tires, and if we get a caution, do you try and come in to take rubber? It seems very valuable on lap pace to come in, and if it gets too late in the day, too close to that clock ticking down to zero, you cannot risk it. Here we go. Pace car is in. And O'Brien goes on it. Green flag is out. Good jump for Matthew Long. He is going to be able to pull a nose ahead of Rondeletto as they start to accelerate away, which honestly is exactly what O'Brien wants in this situation if he wants to take the Season 4 championship as well.
Yeah, indeed he is. So there they go. I thought for a second there that Trent Dinkle was also going to be able to get the inside of Octavio Rondeletto, poking his nose down onto that low line as well, but not to be. But it does look like Matthew Long's got some good stuff in him, but we jump back in the field. That's Cowgill, I believe, starting to try to go forward.
And Long's underneath O'Brien very quickly. He's looking great on this restart. He caught up to him on the backstretch, passed him through 3 and 4, and Matthew Long is back to the top spot once again. Will O'Brien fight this?
I'm not sure. He lost a little bit of momentum, obviously, with that pass, but the number 9 starting to look a little bit aggressive through 3 and 4, but has to throttle it back just a little bit. But that green nose of that 48 machine starts to loom large there, I have to be thinking, and Dinkle being pulled along as well.
The other thing you have to think about is the fact that the 9 looked pretty good, pretty stable at the end of the run last time. How many laps did we have actually on that one? I'll need to, looks like we went from 61 to 98. That is about 40 laps then, which is probably what we're going to see here at the finish. So if you're looking for a car that is good, if we go green all the way to the end now, I think the 9 will be the one to watch.
I think so too. We have seen James O'Brien look good in the short run, but that car was the most planted out of any of those leading machines that we saw. Everybody else, Joe, you and I were oohing and on, worried about them getting a little bit loose. That 9 did not have any of those problems.
Coming off of 4, O'Brien's not fighting it yet. Maybe he's saving his stuff. He knows he's got a ways to go. And if we do get another caution, everybody up at the front here has one more set of tires. That is it. So we'll see if they get a chance to use them. If anybody can try and do something tricky here. Gaining on our leader, Matthew Long. O'Brien certainly looks good in the slipstream as well as he starts to pick it up. And this will be the last time we might see this, at least for a little bit, with these open setups. One of the changes they're going to be doing for next season, of course, is switching them over to a fixed setup on the next gen car. That's just until everybody gets used to that new machine, and then they'll consider opening it back up. But for now, I am really loving how it's been playing with this Gen 6 using these open setups.
Yeah, I have too, Joe, and I do think it's a good call for them, though, to switch that over to the closed setups, the fixed setups next year. It just keeps everything on a little bit more of a level playing field while drivers get used to the way those new Gen 7 cars feel, as they will be wildly different animals than these Gen 6 Cup cars.
Okay, we've got our stats in. Big thank you to Nick Hunter, who's helping us out behind the scenes with some of these things. It was more recent than I expected. 2021 Season 1. Holly didn't get a win. All right, then. So it's been within the last year, but it has been at least a couple seasons since that last happened. And Holly has regained a few spots. He's back up to 16th now, so it looks like he didn't get too bad of damage from that hit. And right now, well, guess who's behind? Brandon Walter, who he got involved with before. Hopefully he doesn't have a repeat.
Oh, dear, no. Bradley's one of those drivers that doesn't exactly hold too much of a grudge here, so I don't think there's going to be anything, and you know, he was immediately on the box apologizing afterwards.
Goodell looking below. Rondeletto doesn't look like he's going to fight this one, so the 7 going to sneak underneath, and that'll get him 4th place. Just chops in front of the 48 now. Rondeletto still within the window to be able to clinch.
Exactly, and so that will be a good news for Rondeletto, but he's definitely starting to put pressure onto the back here as he tries to keep up behind Goodell, who again has just had a fantastic run here today.
The one bad sign out of this is that Rondeletto restarted in 3rd, and he falls back to 5th now. That's 2 spots that he has dropped, so I'm not sure if it's just not really looking good once everybody gets up to speed, or what's going on with him, because he certainly looked fast. Maybe it's a little bit like what we saw with Stout, who, well, interestingly enough, Taylor Stout's right behind him right now.
Well, Joe, here is one potential for you. I just took a look at our weather out here, and it's been clouding up pretty consistently over the course of the race, and the track temperatures actually dropped down all the way to 92 degrees. So I wonder if Rondeletto's car is not exactly set up for those cooler temperatures. Remember, we were pushing triple digits just as little as 20 minutes ago, so that could be an explanation to why the 48's fallen back.
That's a good point. It might feel a little bit snappy out there, as not expecting the grip that it's getting. Bradley Holly, by the way, is making quick work of the last group that he was near, because he took 1, 2, and just about 3, because right now he's trying to overtake Cervantes for 13th. There you see him in that black machine. Can't quite get in front of the 25 yet.
Not yet, but give him a couple more corners if Bradley does what Bradley does best. Cervantes really running that thing up high. I like that defensive maneuver from him, just trying to maximize momentum. That's the 07 there behind him of Scotty Johnson, just trying to pick a line and grab onto the toe to the back of Bradley Holly to see if he can pull himself up and along. There goes Holly. He's trying to drift in front of Cervantes. Moved on.
There you go. So that'll be 13th for Bradley Holly. It's not looking good about him winning either of the championships at this stage, though. He's so far back, hasn't really taken any bonus points that I can think of, because I don't think he led a lap. As for most laps led, I'm pretty certain that's been handed to Matthew Long at this stage. I'll have to double check to see if that stat is accurate.
Yeah, I believe that is right, just by my rough estimation there, Joe, but we'll have to check the official numbers. As we look back there in the field, some too wide going on a little bit. I believe that is the 66 there of Taylor Stout, your pole sitter. In a pretty close battle here.
Yeah, that's Simmons on his high side, and Simmons is going to pull ahead. So that's P9 for him. We're down to 14 minutes left to go now. So it's coming down to it. You can expect about 28 laps on that, so just shy of what we've got left on the ticker there up at the top.
And Joe, just doing some calculations along with our man behind the scenes, Nick Hunter, about 29 laps is what it sounds like.
Okay, then. So looking through the field, though, one other interesting thing to note, where did Cowgill come from? Because he's joined the top 6. Now, the top 6 are a bit spread out as we watch this fight between Kalen and the number 2 of Knopf. They're the first ones that are broken up by a serious distance, about 1.1 second between P6 and P7. From there on up, everybody's kind of equidistant from one another. It's really the top 4 the closest among them.
Yeah. Ooh. Was that Dinkle down there low? Who was that? Oh, no, sorry, that was not. That was another blue car.
Yeah, I had the same thought you did. I thought maybe Dinkle got into some trouble there. That was the second group, it looks like, that we were watching. In fact, that was, I think that is Mike Witt that we saw who had the issue. Yeah, he's just behind. Whoa, 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 whoa. In front of him, that was Stout, who had to chase it all the way to the exit of turn 2. And you can see how much that slowed him up. The 57 is going to go underneath him. Zemke is going to try and take this spot away. It's pinched down a little bit on the exit of turn 4. He will be ahead of him at the line, but he hasn't got the job done yet.
No, it is not. Zemke's going to have to hold it down, and if I'm Taylor Stout, I'm real worried about running that high line based off of how slippery that car was on the previous lap, but he's able to gather it back up, keep it going there. The 26 now, Michael Witt going to close in behind him, see if he can get that advantage over Stout. He's going to poke his nose and force Stout up high.
Don't think that Stout likes too much. Really struggling with that car after such a great performance in qualifying, just not meant to be. As they come around to turn 1 once again. Yep, there goes the 26. It's got that inside line. Shorter line, but is it the faster line? No, not yet. 66 starting to get a hold of it.
Yeah, starting to hold it out a little bit here, making that high line work for him. And sometimes when you are a little bit loosey-goosey like that, it can actually help you to run high. You don't have to put as much wheel into the car. Witt tries to come up a little bit there on Stout, but Stout able to carry the momentum around and hold that off. So that battle is going to continue. Witt really trying to pinch him, but Stout having none of it.
Indeed. So he is now into that 11th position, Mike Witt. Now, one thing I want to think about here is that we've got about 10 minutes left to go now. James O'Brien's been sitting behind Matthew Long for some time after Long got that great restart and overtook the lead. Is this O'Brien still saving, or is this his maximum pace? Can he challenge? Because look at the distance between them now. It is about 0.3 of a second.
Well, I think some of that may have been broken up a little bit by traffic. They were just able to get by Carlos Romero. That Skip Gandy they're going by right now. So I think that may be a little bit of a false indicator of in terms of what their actual distance is. I've got to believe that James has got a lot more pace held up in that car. I think he can probably push it a little bit if he wants it. Well, I'm looking at his entrance speed into the corner, and he was in clear air there, Joe, and going into 1 and 2, he looked very slow.
Is this dire news for James O'Brien? Is he going to lose the 2021 championship because of this, potentially? There's the lap differences between them as they come across. Dinkel's still holding on as well, about 3/10 back. But again, they've all got pretty much their own little piece of track for this stage. We're not into the do or die time yet, but they're going to get fewer and fewer laps to really make a difference. And if O'Brien loses too much, remember, he's not only got to pass him, he's got to catch him first.
Yeah, exactly. And, well, they're going to come up around Baron Hilton. But after they're by Baron, there is a good long while before they're going to come up behind another group of lapped cars. So this is the time here for O'Brien to really try to get a move on. Got about 10 seconds before they get up to Troy Hutchison.
Yeah, still putting more cars laps down. That's Baron Hilton trying to stay out of the way. Nicely done. Drivers here are very concerned with sportsmanship. They know that there's a lot on the line, especially for these drivers at the tip. We come down now to 8.5 minutes left as they cross the line.
Joe, I'm looking at those lap times there in between Long and O'Brien. That last lap was pretty clear all the way around for both cars, and O'Brien was about 100th of a second off. Now, that may not sound like a whole heck of a lot, but when you're running at these speeds and around a intermediate oval like this, that's a lot of time, and he needs to be gaining that in, not losing it.
We were watching on screen when Kalen had a crazy moment off of turn 2 where the car got mighty sideways. And as they cross the line, he's fighting with Simmons still. We've seen these two go door to door a few times. They're down into 1 and 2 once again. Simmons on the inside in the black 46. Oh, this time he's the one that nearly has an issue. Almost gets into the side of Kalen, who looked more stable. Kalen going to be able to get ahead, but he can't chop down yet.
No, and that's going to be the 46 there. Simmons just trying to run him up the road a little bit, put Kalen on to a bad line. Kalen having none of it, carrying that momentum as much as he can. It's going to be a shorter line, though, there for Daniel Simmons. There's the cut in front. He's got the move.
Job done. Behind them, Jamie Knopf is catching up. Could he maybe get one or both of them here? And these last few laps, it's going to be very tight, but we're still seeing estimations that are underneath what the full race distance will be, probably 1 or 2 laps short. Hopefully, drivers are paying attention, especially those who are fighting for the championships, because if they're planning on making a last lap move, well, they got to be extra sure which lap is that last lap.
Yeah, indeed, Joe. Really ticking down under it, and I'm still continuing to keep an eye on James O'Brien's times. He continues to fall back. I don't know if he is just in super save mode to push into these last couple of minutes or what, but James O'Brien consistently slower lap after lap. Matthew Long just putting in good ones here.
Here's the other thing. If they get a caution, that caution may take us to the finish here too. So that could also be a factor in things, because I'm looking at it. And 6 minutes left. Last caution that we had looked to have lasted roughly about 5 to 6 minutes. So many factors, so many variables that hopefully they've got somebody on the box to at least be thinking about these sort of things. So we come down across the line once again, side by side here with Witt on the underneath of Adam Zemke. Witt can try and take the 10th place away from the 57. Way up on the high side, maybe a little too high up on the high side. The 57 not able to carry the speed like he would have liked, and the 26 is through.
Yeah, it looked like the rear end of that 57 just got a little bit loose coming off of the edge, but able to regain it and keep it going.
And as we watch that, Cowgill barely saved it off of turn 4 just now. He's in his own little fight. Almost thought he was going to make contact there with Simmons. That car is super loose. You can see it there as he waggles back and forth off of turn 2.
Whew, that car does not look like fun to drive. His steering inputs are all over the place. Simmons forced to back off there. That pulled Mark Kaneland back into that fight.
Oh, and once again, he finds himself having to catch it, going all the way down to the bottom. If we get a caution, I think Calgill's the most likely to cause it as he once again goes wheel to wheel.
He does indeed. Whoa, that car drifting up the track there. I thought for sure he was in the wall.
We're down to 4 minutes left to go now. Calgill's scaring me because I want to see this thing finish under green. I hate to ask him to park it, but it doesn't look like a healthy car right now, and he's in the midst of a bunch of other cars, so he could easily tip somebody else around. Oh, goodness. I know it says 11 to go, but we are a timed race at this stage. Less than 4 minutes left on the clock, and O'Brien's fallen behind Dinkle. When did we miss that pass?
It was just a couple laps ago. James O'Brien now under assault from Ryan Goodell. That number 9 is completely fallen off the pace.
Oh, no. He used it up a little bit too much, it appears. He's drifting away from Matthew Long, who looks set to take the 2021 championship. Rondeletto, however, still in 5th, still set to take the Season 4 championship himself. This time across the line for Long, it's going to be 3 minutes to go.
And there you see Goodell trying to force his way down to the inside of James O'Brien. Able to hold it out there. Neither car getting into trouble there, thank goodness. Goodell backing off a little bit. It looks like trying to resize his options. That's going to allow for Octavio Rondeletto in 5th to be able to pull his way back into the number 7.
Dinkle, if he maybe could have had a little bit more earlier on, a better charge, I wonder if he could have challenged Long. What a story that would be if Dinkle, who scraped his way into this finale, takes the 2021 overall championship. As we see them come off of 4, we get a car down low. Hopefully not a caution. Catches it. That's Witt. I'm not sure what caused that. Thankfully, no yellow.
Yeah, thankfully no yellow, and Chicagoland will be thankful for a little bit of landscaping there done by Michael Witt along the backstretch, and a good catch, it should be said. Very lucky to hold that thing under it, but we focus back on that battle now for the 3rd place position. It looks like Goodell's been able to gather the car back under him, and Rondeletto on the charge here as well.
2 minutes to go to cross the line from Matthew Long as these 3 fight for the scraps. Trying to see who finishes on the podium here. And Rondeletto decides it's time to go as he's going to get underneath the 7 of Goodell. He's got the championship. He can't really risk it here, but as long as it's safe, might as well see if he could finish this one, able to spray the champagne. He's going to try and fight up into 4th this time. Underneath the 7, doesn't quite have the speed, though.
No, he doesn't. He's going to dive it down onto the apron. Goodell doing a good job to just try to pinch that 48 down as much as possible, cover off any sort of line, and make him run a harder line to run. Ooh, he washes up a little bit mid-corner, though, and that's going to give Octavio a little bit of a chance to keep it along side by side.
As they cross the line, it's going to be 2 laps to go for Matthew Long. Yes, it is indeed. 57, 56 seconds left to go. Matthew Long gets the popsicle sticks. The 2021 year-long championship for the PRL Cup Series could see this 28 car take it with not quite the full race distance here at Chicagoland. A victory will be worth plenty to celebrate, and a championship adding to that. White flag waved from Matthew Long as he crosses the line. Just 1 more to go to make it to the finish. And behind him, Rondeletto is in 5th, ready to clinch after just missing out to O'Brien last season by a single point. On the backstretch for Matthew Long. Just 2 more corners for the number 28. Can he do this? Is there enough in those tires? It's looking pretty sure at almost 2 seconds back to the nearest car. The 28 is going to take the win and the 2021 championship with it.
Matthew Long steaming to victory. That is going to be a very happy driver of the 28. And there you see the Season 4 champion, Octavio Rondoletto, getting done what he needs to do, coming home P5.
Rondoletto didn't exactly storm through for this one, but he clinched it regardless. Well done. That is redemption for him. And that will wrap up the season. But we have more show to come here tonight. We've got the unofficial results as well as driver interviews coming your way. I got to think that Matthew Long's going to burn this one down here in Chicago, put up some tornadoes here with those tires in the Midwest. That is it for today. We'll be back after a short break.
Hey guys, welcome to ASR. I'm Nick, this is Marc-Andre.
Hey everybody, so we're just here to announce that in this current season of PRL, we'll be giving away 2 ASR 3s to 2 lucky winners. So stay competitive, keep racing fair, and may the best man win.
Welcome back to Chicagoland Speedway. 2021 for the PRL Cup Series is over, giving us a great goodbye to the Gen 6 car. And Matthew Long wound up the 2021 champion as well as the victor today. Trent Dinkle from 11th to 2nd. Considering he squeaked through into this Final Four here today, finishing 2nd on 2021, certainly going to be something he's proud of. As James O'Brien just couldn't quite beat Rondoletto a second time. He still gets 3rd here today as Ryan Goodell was 4th. Rondoletto with 5th place could not be surpassed in the points. He is your winner in Season 4. Daniel Simmons was 6th as Patrick Cowgill, who gave us a heart attack a few times with his loose car at the end, finished 7th somehow. Kalen went from 21st to 8th. Bradley Hawley just wasn't in it today, unfortunately, and for the second time in 2021 went winless in the season. It was Jamie Knopf who finished 10th behind him.
In 11th, it was Adam Zemke, followed by Brandon Walter and Danny Cervantes, tied for your highest mover of the race, up 13 spots on the day to come home 13th. Scotty Johnson was 14th, followed by Josh Conker in 15th, with Pat Harvey in 16th and Mike Witt in 17th. Taylor Stout came home behind him with Jose Menda in 19th and Charles Sumner rounding out your top 20.
21st went to Troy Hutchison. Last one on the lead lap, Baron Hilton 22nd. Then it was Skip Gandy, P23. Everybody from there on down, unfortunately, was a DNF here in the season finale. And that's going to take us to our interviews, starting off with Matthew Long, not only our winner here today, but our winner of the 2021 championship as a whole. Matthew, congratulations. It looked like for much of the race you did have control of things, but then about partway through, O'Brien had the measure of you and was leading. Was that you just holding back, or did he have better pace in that little middle stint?
First of all, hell yeah, thank you. That was freaking awesome. We had a really, really fast car in the short runs. I think we were a little more trimmed out than James and maybe Trent. But once you got maybe really over 5 laps into a run, it was the aero push behind the car was just really difficult. So I was going all out during that stint when I was behind James, and I think I had one opportunity when I got under him, and I just couldn't make it stick. Otherwise, I was waiting for green flag pit stops and maybe try an undercut or something like that. But yeah, the leader had a huge advantage, which made those restarts so critical.
That explains why you charged back up to the front of him on that last restart. But talk to us about what it's like going for a year-long championship. Obviously, you've experienced trying to fight for the championship season to season, but when there's that much time and work that's gone into it over so many months, do you feel the nerves coming into one last round that decides it all?
I didn't really feel the nerves coming into this. We joined the PRL back in season 2, and Taylor and I both, and huge shout out to Taylor for all his work he puts in on the cars. Taylor and I both didn't know what we were doing setting these things up, and we went to work, learning, telemetry, everything, and it's been a really fun process just seeing the improvement year over year, all to culminate with this win here. But no, we put in a ton of work this week, probably ran over 1,000 laps of just practice and testing. So I didn't feel nervous coming in. I knew, I couldn't make any mistakes, and, we'll see, we brought what we brought, and it ended up being pretty fast. And, it just came down to that one restart there, getting in front of James.
Wow, just incredible stuff. Is there anybody you want to give a thank you to or a shout out to, both for the win and the championship?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I want to thank Taylor Stout. He, I put in work, running laps and helping building the setups. But Taylor is really the mastermind. He knows the physics on these cars so well. So a big thank you to Taylor for his work on the setups. And Chris as well, as a teammate. The three of us, I think, worked really well this year. I also want to thank PRL, GSRC, you guys for putting on a great show. James Bird and Pebble Island Marina for being on the car each week. So check them out. And all the fans, I know I got some friends and family watching tonight, so I appreciate you all watching. Thank you.
That was Matthew Long of the 28 machine, who won today and took the championship. But we also had the season championship. Season 4 was won by Octavio Rondoletto and DJs. Caught up with him.
I have indeed, without any question at all. Octavio, you are champion in season 4. How does it feel?
Yeah, I'm so happy with it. We worked so hard for this, and I'm here in the championship again. Now I'm sure I'm the champion. At first, I want to say congratulations to Matthew Long, James Bear Racing, and Team Hype for the championship. And I want to thank to all the team, Hong Racing eSports, for all the job. Elite Performance, our new sponsor, they provide the setup, amazing car. And Líderes Argentinas, Distribuidora Delta, all our sponsor, my spotter, Gregorio Dorso, and the league. I will be here in the next season.
Well, that's what we love to hear, Octavio. It is absolutely great to hear you. Did you have any worry out there at all today? It seemed like you dropped back a little bit during that middle stint, but were you at all worried?
I was really worried. The four guys in the playoff were fighting so hard in the start of the race. I tried to lead one lap in the start. I was needing a point You know, I like the bonus points. And in this point, I prefer to stay behind and see what happens. I was knowing I need to stay behind. I had a difference in the championship in points, and well, I had to finish.
Well, I got that sense from you, and we got that sort of raw determination from you. But I gotta ask you, my friend, what is on the docket for next year? Where do you go from here after taking this championship?
I don't know a lot of the next gen, but we will learn a lot. This is a new kind of racing. I think the new super speed style of racing will be in all or in majority of the tracks, and this will be different for all of us. And with experience in the IndyCar, hopefully, I will be great again.
Well, we look forward to seeing you and that 48 back on track next season in that next gen. I know you ran through all your sponsors and everybody else, but anybody else you would like to thank for this season 4 championship?
All the team. Special to Gregorio Dorso, my spotter, and my family, who is supporting me all the races.
Well, thank you so much, and congratulations again, ladies and gentlemen. That was Octavio Rondaletto. You are Season 4 champion. And now, Joe, you've caught up with our second place finisher here today, Trent Dinkle.
And second place in the 2021 Cup as well. Trent, congratulations on a podium. Considering you scraped into these final 4, are you happy with the second, or you wish you had something to catch long?
Oh, I mean, to be honest, I have zero clue how I got here. I mean, if you go back and look at my first 2 seasons with this league, it was junk. So I was just happy to make it into the final 4. Probably to let the cat out of the bag. I think starting at Talladega, I started working with James a lot on the setups, like all week long. And I kind of made a deal that I wanted to get into the final 4 because I was there, and I managed to be there every race. And we worked a lot this week. I mean, I probably put in 1,000 or more laps on this track this week, but Matt just had a car that was something else this week. And then I think, not 100% sure, but I think I was carrying a little bit of damage throughout most of the race, which probably didn't help. But yeah, I mean, second place, I would have loved to win, but I am more than happy with second place here.
It certainly was an impressive drive. And I have to tell you, we noticed the way things had kind of turned around. It's felt like your season has been on an upward swing. Do you think that will carry through into the next gen, or is that just a whole different kettle of fish?
I mean, I still think everybody says how easy the next gen car is to drive, but I still think you got to be able to drive the car. So, I mean, granted, we're going to fix setups, which is going to kind of level the playing field a little bit, but I still think I should be relatively decent, hopefully up there still fighting for the lead, fighting for podiums, and maybe next year I won't have to work as hard to get into the final 4.
Well, here's crossing fingers on that. Again,
Yeah.
So congratulations on the podium. Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Well, I mean, definitely a shout out to all my teammates. I mean, they do a huge job all week, every week. They're awesome group of guys to race with. Definitely a huge shout out to James and all the Team Hype guys, because they helped me a ton get to where I was able to fight for this today. And then all my family again is watching in Kansas, so it's pretty cool. I want to thank them for watching, and then you guys for putting on all this all year so we can go back and watch some racing.
Well, thank you very much. And that was Trent Dinkle, second place here today, up from 11th, as I believe DJ has caught up with James O'Brien, third place on track, second in the Season 4 championship.
I have indeed, James. How are you feeling after what looked like a very, very hard-fought race and obviously a hard-fought season and year?
Not sad, because I gave it everything I had. I already poured myself a beer. I'm happy you guys picked me last because I ran and grabbed one really quick. It's my birthday today. I was really hoping to win, but I'll celebrate anyways. This is my favorite track, man. I wanted to win that so bad, but it was so hard to pass. If you were in the lead, it was pretty much, that was it. There was no getting around that dirty air. It was terrible. So not taking anything away from Matt, his car was just a little extra more than I had. I think even if I had the lead, he probably would have run me down eventually.
Oh, we didn't know it was your birthday, so happy birthday, my friend.
I didn't want to spoil. I didn't want anybody to give me some special preference during the race. I should have said at the beginning, hey, if you guys want, you should let me win. But no, that would have been no fun because people like Matt and Trent and Octavio and everybody, good competition. It makes the league fun to drive. I mean, it wouldn't be any fun if you just won every race. So it's good that we have these nice tight battles up front, and it could go either way. That's what makes it really great.
Yeah, for sure. And it was great to watch. But I did want to ask you, we're seeing on your screen a little bit, I guess, what caused you to fall back down through the field a little bit? You were running second there for a while, and then were the tires going away from you? What happened?
Yeah, I was literally running Q laps every single lap. As hard as that car, or as well as that car would have handled on the turn, I was probably 10% over the limit every single turn, trying to run them down, trying to search for grip high, middle, low. And that was really just the tires saying, you know what, this is the end. You don't have anything else. So I'm just glad I kind of held on to it and got third from it. Because I hit the wall pretty hard. So I'm glad that just showed how good the set was, being able to hold on to third. It was a rocket.
Yeah, indeed. It looked like you had some good speed there. But, I mean, obviously, you don't take away the personal championship, but it's got to feel good defending champions for a private label team hype. That's got to at least be a little bit.
Yeah, bring Brandon and Richard wasn't racing this year, but he helps out all the time. So if it's okay to bring them both in, because they're part of the team. Abner just had a baby a few months ago, so he's probably taking care of the kid. But here's these dudes. They're not ready, I guess. But yeah, no, it feels great.
I'm ready.
The season's sweet.
I'm here.
I'll let them talk because I know Brandon doesn't really come up here very often, and Richard has been itching to come in here because he hasn't raced in probably half the year.
Yeah, man. What a season! It's been quite the uphill battle for me because I don't, honestly haven't had the most amount of time I could to practice, but I try to give James all the input for the setups. It's just I started getting on something with these 1.5 mile tracks, but I always find ways to mess up or I get wrecked or something. But it's been a great season. It's been really, really just a learning experience. And now the new car on fixed setups is going to be really, really interesting. I'll say that.
Yeah, this year's been great. We got to thank our sponsors for the team, Private Label, Ethica, Ty Stover, Tommy Milner. Big thanks to the birthday boy, James O'Brien, for the guy who does literally 95% of the work on the team. We're going to fix next season for season 1, but hopefully for season 2 we go back to open and we can continue dominating next year too.
Yeah, I finally get a break. 40 weeks of having to build sets. It's a lot of fun though. I learned so much throughout the year, and sometimes I get my hand on a Coke set and I can kind of compare to that and just be like, wow, I built this. This is really cool. This is super close to what the pro guys are running, and it makes me a little sad that we're going to fix next year just because of that. But at the same rate, it's a new car, new platform, new unknowns. You have no idea what it's going to do, so it kind of gives us a little time to get acclimated. I want to thank all the guys for helping out as much as they can. I know some of them are really busy, and Trent was a huge help the last few races. He came on and learned a lot. I watched him improve massively. It was incredible. He was on our strategy at Talladega and won the race, and Homestead, that was a pure drive from him. There was no handouts there. That was all him. I had nothing for him. Same setup. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Richard already said thanks to all the sponsors and everybody watching. I hope it was a good race, and you guys are putting this on as usual.
Well, thank you guys. That was Brandon Walter, James O'Brien, and Richard Reagan, the team behind Private Label Team Hype, your 2021 Season 4 season champions.
Which is going to wrap us up. And we also want to thank the sponsors of the series before we go, which of course includes ASR. They design and build the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com. And RaceLab. It helps you to improve your driving skills. Start using it now for free at racelab.app. And ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing at thebuttkicker.com. As well as SIMMSA. Find out how you can bridge the gap between virtual and real motorsports at SIMMSA.net. And finally, NinjaTrader. Visit ninjatrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator to start tracking your performance. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. And additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Check out her Bandcamp for more great work. Thanks to the team today, DJ, Zach, and Dougie, with a special thank you to Nick Hunter behind the scenes. You can find more info about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media. Check out our merchandise store at simracingmerch.com/GSRC, and there's a link for that in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment. And as we mentioned, next race will be Sunday, December 19th. That is to be decided for the track. It'll be at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.